Welcome back to Deadly Premonition. So, yeah, let's continue exploring the lumber mill.
What's that, Zach? You forgot to open the part with a hello, Zach section?
You didn't have to worry, Joe, but Zach already knows the how these things go by this point. Don't worry.
Well, I gotta say, guys, the conditions here still look a lot better than the lucky smells of the mill.
Anyway, I'll take this time to also correct myself from a previous statement from a previous part. This game doesn't take place in 2005. It takes place in 2006. But whatever, one year, minus 1 year doesn't really make a difference in the grand scheme of things.
So that means that they could possibly reference Enchanted then. Good for them.
Well, actually, Enchanted came out in 2007, so no.
Well, I guess the Winter Olympics that were that year. Forgot which ones were.
Well, true, yes.
Wasn't that
they
in
could also
Turin?
Okay.
My
yes,
country?
Pedro.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yes, Pedro, the actual movie came out in 2007, but the trailers were available as early as 2006.
Oh, they can reference the football/soccer World Cup. Maybe your. Oh,
It's rusted all over. Won't budge without a good whacking. Any tools handy, Zach?
how about? Well, do we have a wrench, don't we?
It's in the toolbox though, so we'll have to use Keith's guitar.
Oh,
There you go.
Okay then.
So
I guess that was the idea of using a tool. I thought you were just going to fix the machine.
And I don't understand why the hell a lumber mill has a switch for flooding it with water, but whatever.
I guess.
there you go. So there you go.
mean,
You know 2006, a great year for Italian.
I mean, this is not a sewer level; it's a lumber mill level. So why exactly?
I mean, okay. I can imagine like a lever that controls pumps that remove away flowed water, but that basically implies that the weather and the nearby rivers are so terrible. Oh, okay. The are so terrible that the lumber mill
Huge
gets
upside down
flooded
piece marks
constantly.
been drawn on the steam engine tank. Any idea what it means, Zach?
Okay. Since when did this turn into Saw the video game?
Well, this game does have a horror element to it.
You're in a dimly lit room where you have to. The only way you can see properly is by using a light of some sort.
It's like this, Dwebs. You ever played the Silent Hill game? Okay, basically, the Silent Hill has this thing where you live in the real world, but there's also an alternate world with the actual undead people there. It's the same logic here, basically.
So, okay.
It's basically atmosphere-wise, inspiration Silent Hill, gameplay-wise Resident Evil 4, more like a poor man's version of Resident Evil 4, but you see what I mean.
I was about to say. So
Why is there a kid crying?
Apparently, so. Well, you see,
Estelle,
it's a typical horror movie. It's a typical horror movie trope tale. So why not?
Yes, it's clearly the take your kid at your workplace day for the lumber mill.
Oh yeah, totally.
Employees.
It's like remember, Taylor, it's like in PT, where not only do we hear the baby talk, we even see the baby, for as grotesque as it looks. So.
Ew.
Oh look, let's flush.
No comments, York? Okay.
Apparently
He
not.
just needed to relieve himself.
Oh
of
shit!
it.
Hello.
The raincoat killer.
this is Saw the video game.
Now that's a problem, actually. Can we
No,
actually kill it?
Well, sorry, Des, but the raincoat killer is not going to ask us to play a game. So sorry.
Are there any fancy traps?
A couple, yes, but that's about it.
Is there that one where if you don't unhook that helmet from your head gets ripped open?
No, sorry.
I have to wonder,
Yes, Jova?
when you whacked that switch earlier with a guitar, let's imagine you'd whacked it with the lightsaber. Would that mean that that's actually a pipe strong enough to withstand a freaking lightsaber strike?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Okay, might as well take advantage of this to talk a bit more about the development of this game. Okay, so like I've said before, this game started out development on the PlayStation 2. Eventually, it ended up on the PSP, and then eventually on the Xbox 360. The basic point is, Swery fought tooth and nail with his executives to make the game, because again, not just because of the being forced to put in combat sections, there were also quite a lot of problems. Like again, in its earliest version, there were problems where they had trouble with the Twin Peaks owners, so they had to change everything, including the look of because originally York looked exactly like the protagonist of Twin Peaks.
Agent Cooper, yeah.
Yeah, he was called David Dunn back then.
Essentially, this thing started off as Twin Peaks fan fiction as well.
Basically, yeah. But so they had to change it so that, like just enough so that it would be legally untouchable.
So basically, you're saying this shares a similar development history as 50 Shades of Grey.
Basically.
Did 50 Shades of Grey also get in trouble with the Twilight owners?
There's a fan fiction of with Twilight, so that's what this meant.
Okay then. Sure. Well, that part I know. I was just thinking, was there legal trouble there as well?
Someone shut up that kid already.
Although considering from what I've heard about David Lynch, him in a courtroom suing people sounds like
Gearbox. Oh no.
Oh no. Well, David doesn't actually own Twin Peaks. It's David wasn't even. No, yeah, David doesn't even. David Lynch wasn't even involved.
I'm checking the
I doubt David Lynch even knows that this game exists to begin with. So.
David Lynch's not the type to really respond to video games.
Well,
more like he's too busy with his own works.
No, David is a very, a guy who just stays put in his work, and he's not very much of, he's not very much a public figure. Like he doesn't tweet, he doesn't, make all that many public statements, especially nowadays.
Production companies: Lynch Trust Production, Propaganda Film, Spelling Television. And distributor CBS and Showtime Networks.
Okay.
Well,
one of those has his name, but who knows if just because it has his name doesn't necessarily mean he's the one heading the company. Who do we know who's heading the actual company?
I don't know. I know though that the original release of the first two seasons was done on ABC, so technically this makes it a far out Disney product, I guess.
True. All right. Aside from that.
It's about as much a Disney product as 60s Batman is.
Or Cyberbully.
When this game came out, like we've talked about, it became a cult hit on the Xbox 360 back in the West, because the Xbox 360 was the only version that came out in the West, because the original PS3 version only came out in Japan. Fun fact: this game in Japan is called Red Seats Profile, which is a fitting title considering the case we're investigating.
Whose decision was to change the title and why?
Probably Ignition Entertainment too, because Ignition Entertainment was the one that basically, Swery was doing what he needed according to Ignition's idea of appealing to Western audiences, specifically American audiences.
Yeah.
Hey, what were you saying, Jova?
You were saying something?
I mentioned 60s Batman, and then you said...
Oh, yeah. What's the connection between 60s Batman and Disney?
Well, 60s Batman was shown on and most mainly produced by 20th Century Fox Television.
Oh my god.
Well,
other times,
yeah, but I think,
times.
Well, that was broadcast there, but I'm pretty sure the show itself still is owned by Warner Brothers, isn't it?
No, it isn't. It isn't actually.
Huh.
Fox did license the show to Warner Brothers so they could release it on DVD and Blu-ray, but the show still belonged to them, and now it belongs to Disney.
Interesting.
This is weird.
This means that Disney owns 60s Batman. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have a question.
Yes.
We saw the cutscene before showing that showed that the Raincoat Killer actually entered the area where we're in. Where is he?
Don't worry, Teo. He will show up. Right now, we're kind of, off. He's kind of off our tracks. Like we haven't actually met each other yet.
He's off on a little dainty stroll of his own.
Okay.
Don't worry, Teo. We'll actually introduce, to Shiro's Delight in particular. This level is where we first see the inspiration from Clock Tower. So.
Oh, sure.
Oh, you're a fan of the Clock Tower series, right?
Well,
I was.
Well, the reason for that is because back when we first did the original After Last Season playthrough that got lost, the commentary that got lost, Teo made some kind of Clock Tower joke, and Shiro was all like, "Excuse me, I actually like Clock Tower." So
So, Shiroi, why the past
I
tense
completely
reference
forgot
now?
about that.
I still have the
series
audio,
kinda
so
just doesn't exist anymore. So
Wait, as in, it got so bad that you don't even acknowledge its existence?
no,
or
it just
tweet out?
it just doesn't exist anymore.
well, yeah, a good run, maybe. I don't know.
I guess.
Well, if anyone's interested, the Nitro Red did a retrospective on the series like 1 or 2 years ago, so check that
Mm-hmm.
out.
So, so in terms of the series end, was it something just petering out, canceled abruptly?
Okay,
or...
let me explain quickly, Jova. The first one was a classic, but not released outside of Japan for the Super Nintendo. There was a
You
PlayStation
have to get
port.
a fan translation.
Yes, there was a
essentially.
PlayStation
Oh.
port.
In that case, Shiroi, recently there's been a ROM hack of the Super Nintendo version that does a more proper translation, and they also added in the PlayStation content in the Super Nintendo ROM. So
like the ugly FMV.
aside from that, obviously, but it's called Clock Tower DX. So basically, it's like a DX version of it.
That series was never exactly pretty, anyways. So.
Then there was the first one, Jova, on PlayStation, first to come in the West, which was okay, a bit cheesy, but still okay.
Well, when it comes to
Then
horror,
there was-
when it comes to horror games, looking ugly can actually be a plus sometimes because it can add to the atmosphere.
I will
Anyway,
say,
you were saying to?
then it was Ghosthead, which was localized here as Clock Tower 2, even it was more of a spin-off because it doesn't deal with the themes of the first. Then it was the actual Clock Tower 2. Okay, but whatever. One of the two Clock Towers 2 were localized as Ghosthead. I forgot which one. Oh shit! Oh.
The elevator stopped.
You okay there, York?
Oh, okay. I've played Metal Gear 2, so I know how this works. This means we're going to be assaulted by zombies.
Where is that noise coming from?
You'll see, Shiroi.
This
Hold on.
part, I think it's because the elevator stopped, so the brakes are pulling.
And come on, York. Put some muscle into it, York. There we go.
Ugh,
Ugh.
red hair.
Odd.
Damaged red
Damn it,
hair.
Red hair. Wee. But all right, let's profile first.
All right, so let's see. This also serves as a nice recap.
Ah. You.
Wow, he even has one of those, bracelets with spikes in them.
Obviously, the killer's Chun-Li then.
Yes. Okay, that was something. Let's move on.
I don't know, Joe, but
Anyway.
based on that, we did see his figure, and he doesn't look at all like Chun-Li does look. So
Have you checked the ties? But anyway, Joe, alright,
Yeah.
I think I puzzled enough. I puzzled together. What was Clock Tower 2 in Japan was localized here as the first Clock Tower, and the Ghost Head spin-off was localized here as Clock Tower 2. But
Oh,
at that
boy.
point, the series was essentially still in pair, so when Clock Tower 3 came out, it was like that for both countries. The thing is that the ownership of the IP after Ghost Head was basically lost, so for Clock Tower 3, it was actually given to Capcom, of all people. And they basically turned it into a weird Mahou Shoujo kind of storyline. It's a bit complicated. It's still horror, but it's a bit more campy than usual. Then Capcom did actually a spiritual successor that might as well be Clock Tower 4, which is called On Taunting Ground, which is the better of the bunch, I argue. But after that, basically they stopped.
ooh, and another bandage,
so it's
brand
that?
bandages.
Yeah, the series as it wasn't really campy, wasn't really supposed to be.
No, Free just went way ahead. But partly also because apparently they teamed up with an actual Japanese movie director, and we proudly display that in the credits of Clock Tower 3. It's just that it's still very campy.
I see. So it's that kind of doesn't exist. The kind where, it had a good run, but then it kind of lost its identity, and now, like many Capcom IPs, has just walked away. In the
I
Well,
honestly
for me,
don't
it was most of the fact that there are no games for it now, I guess. Like, the series
that
is
too.
kind of done.
Not just that, Jova. I honestly don't even know if Capcom actually owns the IP or it was like a one-time thing, to be honest.
Alright.
From what you mentioned, they did at least 2 installments.
Well, it's to say that Haunting Ground can be considered its own thing. Remember, Jova, it's not necessarily... It's only tied... It's more like a spiritual successor, Jova.
Also, that doesn't mean they still own it now.
Yeah.
True.
Because a bit of time has passed, so the rights can have expired.
Continuing on the...
Oh, go on, Pedro.
Well, actually, there's a cutscene now, so... what is this? A lot of... A tree full of hands. Huh. There are no endprints around the part where a doorknob should be. A somewhat weird design, it seems.
Oh shit.
Well, let's try and open it still.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
It looks like I don't have anything. There are no handprints around the part where... Yeah, we already read this. Anyway, yeah. Shortly... okay, so... yeah, like I said, the Japanese version of this game is called Red Seats Profile. And the PS3 version of that did indeed come out in Japan back in 2010, but it never made it outside of Japan because at the time the PS3 still was getting some... was still not exactly quite there yet. When it comes to popularity. There was the interesting thing is that the original PS3 version of Red Seats Profile is not actually, this game was made with the 360 in mind, despite being a Japanese game, surprisingly, and as a result, the PS3 version was actually a port. Now, why am I telling you this? Because, okay, cutscene.
Tree.
A red tree.
York from the FBI, watch out for the tree. Okay then.
Pedro, you didn't tell me Terrence.
Wait, what's this timer for?
We have a time limit to decipher this particular thing, Theo. Don't worry, the game gives you a lot more...
Oh my god, a timer for...
No, but like, what happens? You die if you don't solve it correctly?
Shall we play a game? Whatever. I'm sorry, Theo, could you repeat your question?
So, like, do you die if you don't solve it in time?
You do, but you can just immediately respawn right where you are anyway.
No,
So.
I don't understand logic, like the tree hugs you to death or something.
It's okay, all you have to do is shoot one of its ends and it dies.
I guess the idea is that the tree is emitting poison that's sapping your...
Yeah,
I can imagine the Jigsaw speech for this guy.
Oh, look, and it dropped something. Let's see what it is.
Yeah, there's another thing that I
a doorknob!
There's another thing that I noticed. During these sequences, aside from the profile thing and occasional comments about the items, York doesn't really express himself. Like, he doesn't have the witty remarks or like major reactions to the events happening to him.
Well,
it really does feel like if it was just that tacked on. Also, that decent frame rate.
That's the thing, Joe. That's the thing, too. The writing very much implies that both him and Zach have been dealing with this for a long time at this point.
Like, is he in actuality like spacing out when this is happening?
Well, Theo, Joe already asked me this question.
Spoiler for the end.
Well, no, I can't. Right. No, I can actually answer that without spoiling anything. Joe already asked me that question. There is one point in this game where it actually is confirmed that this is not all in what York said, but you'll see when and how. Okay. Like I said, Theo, Silent Hill logic. Just think of it like
True,
that.
But keep in mind that logic varied with each title. Remember, the Silent Hill of Silent Hill 2 still works differently than the one on Silent Hill 4.
True.
Even though they're supposed to be connected.
Can we chalk that up to a lot of Silent Hill 4 kind of crapping the bed?
Honestly, I don't think it was that bad, Jova. It's just that the series wanted to have...
Alright, so we have a doorknob and a door without a doorknob. Seems like a simple puzzle. Let's try it.
Oh, I thought you were just having to press it on top of one of the prints.
The doorknob is shaped like a hand. Classy for a lumber mill. We'll need a little handshake to open the door.
Have you washed your hands before, York?
Yeah, oh crap.
Yeah, never use your own hand for stuff like this.
Ooh.
Because
Oh, sorry.
Who knows where that hand has been?
Sorry, I thought I muted.
Hold on, a bit of it broke. Peeled off fake fingernail.
How specific? Wee.
Alright.
These clues and the way we get them are weird.
Something in this game being weird.
I mean, it's just like, well, the way we get the clues feels a little, well, uber mystical. I
I mean, I
guess.
know that it's labeled as. I know that it's labeled as a reversed symbol of peace, but the actual symbol that the killer is using, that thing we're showing right now, that looks like a chicken feet print.
Again, I do wonder if, along with these horror segments that, the way you get clues in them was also kind of tacked on. I mean, that's
Probably.
not to say that, they're all sloppy here and there, but it does feel like a little just fall into York's lap a little too easy. Like, gee, no wonder he's such a great detective if clues come to him this easily.
If it wasn't for Ignition's mandates, most likely the slumber mill would have just been a typical Ace Attorney investigations type of crime scene where you just investigate and find evidence, and probably would have been a bit better made, but since they had to make it a combat section first and investigation second, that's probably why it comes off like that.
I know the Ace Attorney series wasn't exactly setting the world on fire, but they were making a notable name for, these kinds of games that, necessarily didn't have the typical form of action, but still focused more on storytelling. So, kind of makes me wonder why the studio in charge of this game didn't realize that there might be a market for those kinds of games.
Because Jova, Ignition Entertainment, they're terrible, and that's all there is to it.
Honestly, I don't even remember what are their major other publishing.
Teo, they were the ones who gave us the wonderful English version of Archrise Fantasia.
Oh, okay then.
Are they even
still
around?
active?
I don't think so.
I wonder why.
I'm at the very least glad that this IP is out of their hands, at least.
Oh, there
Hey
it is.
there. Come by here often?
Yeah, someone has seen Pyramid Head. Oh. Okay,
There
bye.
you go. See, Teo, he's trying to find us, he's just not having any luck.
This is a bit dumb. Well, intimidating.
No, they went defunct in 2012.
Alright.
Good riddance.
Good riddance, indeed.
Okay. You know what? To be fair, if it weren't for them, this game might have never have existed.
Nah, we probably that's kind of a different publisher like Marvel.
Yeah, Rising Star Games published it in Europe, so I wouldn't be. So probably Rising Star Games would also pick up the pace and publish it as well, because they did publish a sequel in Europe. In America. Sorry, they're the ones who publish the series in the West right now, and Marvelous is still doing it themselves in Japan.
It makes sense since Marvelous are the guys who own School Days, so yeah, of course they would know how well a sort of a more story-told venture might be. I mean, I won't say I won't act like, that these horror segments are unplayable or anything. They look fine.
Oh no! They're perfectly functional. There's nothing inherently terrible or even that bad about them. It's just that they feel tacked on, like we've said, because they literally were.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess to me it's almost disorienting how detached from the main narrative they are. Like, literally, that horror segment with the hospital feels like such a big-lipped alligator movie.
Basically, everybody, if you want to check a more properly detailed retrospective on not just the game but its development, check Ikokri Media's video on it. It's like 1 hour and 40 minutes. Don't watch it until you complete the game, because he spoils the entire story, because he talks about the whole story. So
that was the video you showed me regarding the ports, right?
that's the one, yes. But I only showed you the section where he compares the ports.
Yeah.
Basically, which brings me up to what I was talking about. Thanks. That's a good segue. The reason I was talking about the original PS3 version of Red Seats Profile is because that's the version that was later used as the base for the director's cut. Why is that a problem? The PS3 port of and keep in mind the original PS3 port was made by Access Games still. So it's not like Toy Box was involved or anything on that one. But even then, it still had some minor issues, like some load time issues where the game sometimes would freeze to load. The sound mixing was downgraded for some reason, where there was a lot of echoey voice clips for some reason, where there was no echo in the original 360 version.
The water texture turned into plastic.
No, Theo, that was for the director's cut. To be fair, the original PS3 release still looked the same.
I recall there being more glitches, though, due to the PS3's ever so wonderful hardware.
Yeah, it did have some minor. It has some minor draw distance issues. And here's the problem. Why am I talking about this? Because when Toy Box Games went on to make the director's cut for the PS3, they used that PS3 port as the base instead of the original 360 version. Let's just say the director's cut was terrible, but we'll talk more about it as in the extras part. There was also the PC port, which is basically the most unoptimized PC version of a game since, I don't know, fucking Big Rigs. And more recently, the Switch port called Deadly Premonition Origins.
From what I've heard, the Switch port is, while not perfect, arguably one of the better ports of this game.
It's okay. It's better. It's definitely better than the PC port, but like that's an accomplishment. It's better than the PC port, but I'll still take the PS3 director's cut when it comes to any of the Toy Box versions of this game. Because basically, Jova, it's a Sonic Adventure 1 type of affair where every time they port this thing, they make it worse. Because remember, the original Switch version was flat out unplayable at release, and they had to patch it.
Mind you, this is already considering that this is a port of a rather already not traditionally good game.
No, yeah, basically, Jova, the original 360 version was ported to the PS3. Then that PS3 version got a director's cut on the West. Then that PS3 director's cut got ported to the PC. Then that PC port of the PS3 port got ported to the Switch. It's a Sonic Adventure 1 style of affair.
Which version they finally realized, hey guys, our ports need to actually be better, not worse.
Well, yeah, congratulations. You are now better than complete fuck all. So, I get. Should I clap?
Well, breath of sigh of relief that it's not worse, I guess.
Well, I guess.
At the very least, Deadly Premonition 2 is getting properly polished.
Like I said, everybody, if you want to play this game, get yourself a 360, or even better, an OG Xbox One. The game does not take advantage of the Xbox One X. It's not upscale, so you don't need an X. You can easily get a 2014 Xbox One to play this game, or even if you want something an even cheaper alternative, get an old 360 console, and you can easily buy, because this game is still being the Rising Star Games is still selling the 360 version digitally, so you can still purchase it there. So
wow.
But again, from what I've seen from that video that you showed, the backward compatibility program for the Xbox One actually manages to get the frame rate stable for the 360 version.
The original 360 version actually is stable enough. Theo. It's okay. It's stable in the sense that sometimes you'll occasionally drop to 29, but that's like something that's like negligible when you're actually playing. You know.
Oh, okay.
Well, what the one version does is it locks at a consistent 30, and it applies VSync, eliminating screen tearing.
So essentially, the best version of this game is the Xbox One backwards.
Once again, Jova, the Xbox One confirms its true purpose in life of being a glorified emulation machine.
Not to mention the Xbox One version was actually made by a competent development team, so that helps.
Mm-hmm. So about these horror sections. We've talked about how the horror sections feel disconnected from the plot, but given that there's the presence of Vivi's demented cousin, the Hatchet murderer guy here, would you say that at the very least some horror elements actually did feel like they were supposed to have been in the game from the get-go?
Oh, no. The horror aspect was always supposed to be in the game. It was just supposed to be more about atmosphere rather than fighting zombies. You know.
If you have no idea, Jova, Twin Peaks works on a more psychological level.
Yeah.
It has moments of shock and with mood whiplash for horror, but most of it comes from the tension of characters talking with each other.
Yeah.
It was also because it was cheaply made, but they fuse the two things together.
Again, it's like I said. If you're someone like me who grew up playing older Resident Evil games, this is not so bad to do because you already.
Machine.
Gotta pay our phone bill. Oh shit. All right, and
Well, that was a productive conversation.
there you go. Speaking of horror elements, okay, this is actually one of the.
Oh, it's right behind the door.
You're about to get a peek, Joe, into what exactly the horror focus was originally going to be. Specifically, sections like these.
Shit.
All right, so okay.
Wait. So you're telling me that VV
Here he is again. Let's have quickly,
suddenly became a serial killer?
If we don't want any
Pretty
problems,
much,
Zach.
yeah.
So there you go.
Oh my god, the frame rate is dying.
And keep in mind, this is the Xbox One version too.
This is exactly the same problem that the new Siren, Forbidden Siren game had on the PS3.
Fortunately,
because when it came to dividing the screen into two, it basically broke the entire frame rate.
Fortunately, the frame rate doesn't become a real problem in these sections because you have more than enough time to do what you need. Trust me. At least to me, it doesn't become an issue.
I just read to think how slow it looks like on other versions.
The 360 version.
dear.
Oh, it looks pretty bad. Okay. Occasionally, you'll have to hold the R trigger to hold your breath, so that he won't hear you. There you go.
It's kind of like
So there you go.
isolation.
Yeah, exactly. Like Tay was saying, originally this was supposed to be the focus of the horror element, specifically tense moments like these, more minimalistic moments of like these, rather than shooting zombies. You know.
I suppose that there was always going to be some hint of supernatural elements as well.
Oh no,
stuff like the
no
Reguarding.
hints, Joe. But this game is full of supernatural stuff. But we'll get to it.
Again, Joe, it would have been more like instead more presenting a more subtle, mysterious way. David Lynch specialized in the surreal when it comes to horror, so it's not a guy that would. Basically, you know how these shooting sections are more like Resident Evil. He would have been more sophisticated than that.
I do like, however, the presentation of these sequences where you get the perspective from both you and the killer, and the music
that is pretty neat.
and the music and the music really works for the sake of the tension in this part because you're literally trying your best to not because trust me, if he finds you, he'll kill you in one hit. It's not like you can even try and fight him. So this is one of those classic horror game type of moments where you cannot fight. You're forced to do something a bit more, methodical.
In a way, it's kind of reminiscent of the Pyramid Head encounters in Silent Hill 2, just without the actual action sequences.
Fun fact: in the Switch version, they changed the Raincoat Killer's scream to a lion roar, and I don't understand why the fuck.
Interesting.
And I don't.
It's more intimidating.
There you go. See, this is his actual scream. But for some reason, the Switch version, and they didn't patch it out, for the record, it's still there. I don't even understand how the hell that happened. How does that happen?
And he just magically respawned in his hand.
Maybe he has a lot of axes with him, I don't know. Because remember, Teo, this is a video game,
Pedro,
so...
It's the Leviathan axe.
Remember, Teo, this is a video game, so people have infinite pockets where they can store an entire inventory of stuff. So...
Alright, moving on.
Oh, that happened.
Zach, this is a waste of time. Let's go.
Alright, York, sure.
That's
Come on,
all
York,
you
I don't
have to
think it was
react.
that bad.
That's your reaction to nearly getting, bisected by Vivi there.
Alright,
man,
don't worry.
We're still missing one piece of evidence to profile.
Yeah, well,
Also,
don't worry.
seriously,
Sorry. Go ahead.
seriously though, yeah, Vivi really did fall on hard times after FF9.
It's the unholy union.
Oh, shit.
Fuck.
Looks like we're
Top in the morning. How do you do there?
looks like we're not out of the woods yet. Alright, here you go.
I'm not buying anything, sir. Sorry.
Alright, so this is a chase sequence where you're supposed to... There you go. Sorry, I pressed B accidentally. There you go. Alright, and whenever he throws your axe, press B to evade it. It's pretty easy. Anyway, yeah, basically you have to tilt the analog stick to run, and every time there's an obstacle, you also have to push it. There you go. This is what I was talking about earlier. Again, originally this was supposed to be the primary focus of sections like these. It was meant to be more about horror-like set pieces, about being chased, or having to hide because the monster is out to get you. Something, those kinds of things. But unfortunately, we also have to kill zombies because mandate.
I mean, I wouldn't even mind the zombies too much if they just, I don't know, tie them better together with the narrative. Alas.
Yep.
Ha! So long, sucker! You'll never catch me! Not when I shift into maximum overdrive!
It is a really cool idea, though, to have the perspective from both us and the killer during these sections. Oh yeah, and there you go. I can also show you what happens when he grabs you in a moment. There you go. If he grabs you, you have to do that thing again where you have to use the QTE to try to dodge the axe.
I love how the entity not connected at all with the neck of York. Poor bastard.
Alright, let's run! Run, York, run!
Oh, it's just
Gotta open the door first.
Let's just casually
Very gently,
walk
mind
through.
Yes. Alright, now back to running.
This would have been the moment where York should have slammed the door while opening it.
See that guy? He
Fuck.
can just kick it down.
What
Oh
happened?
no!
The steam from the pipes, too. It hurt me.
Damn it.
That's okay. As long as you succeed at this specific QTE, you can always just continue. There you go.
Wow, talk about streamlined indeed.
There you go. All right, let's go.
Yeah, you have to pass through. You have to get around steam pipes in Saw the video game. Okay, this is where we play that game and think. I wonder how I can make it not sucky that much.
Swear I
So
played a lot of
York,
games and mostly movies.
So York, what have we got from this experience?
Hey York, what experiences have you learned today?
It's mostly you know, again, building up the raincoat killer because, well, he is our antagonist. So
I'll admit now, that segment was pretty keen. I mean, hokey.
now imagine if these sections were actually focused on those things. Wouldn't it, much better, wouldn't it be?
And
Yeah.
especially more polished.
Well, yeah, that goes without saying too.
Yeah.
There is some stuff. There is something rather interesting about a horror game having a specific nemesis to it. Like here, you've got Raincoat Killer. In Silent Hill, you've got Pyramid Man, and in Resident Evil 3, you have Nemesis.
And in Resident Evil 6, you have Ustanak Jova. It's totally the same thing.
AKA Capcom trying to one-up themselves with Nemesis.
We haven't quite figured this out yet, so obviously we need one more clue.
Yeah. But where to find it? I mean, we're just going back to whence we came.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
we reached a dead end, so it's not like we can go much any further in this.
Now guys, I got it.
What?
What?
York is the clue.
Oh, from
This is not Final Fantasy. the
like he
Spirit
himself,
Within.
like he himself said,
Oh,
Webbs, he's an
for
outsider
fuck's sake.
FBI agent that wasn't even here when the murder took. Like he himself said, Webbs, he's an outsider FBI agent that wasn't even here when the murder happened. So I failed to realize how he can
No,
be.
I want you to
But how
stay
do
in
we-
the elevator.
But Pedro, that's what he says. For all we know, he could have been drunk or something and was here before.
Who knows?
Was that the the Raincoat killer's intention of having York stay in the elevator?
Don't worry, not all the boss battles will be like this. Eventually, we'll get more proper boss battles that don't involve just QTEs. So.
Oh my god, he used his gun. Oh,
There you go.
work.
Ha.
So yeah, Vegan
Going
is
up?
saved.
That's totally gonna stop him.
Well, it's enough for us to get away.
Oh, okay then.
And we're gonna torn a piece of his raincoat.
Okay, I guess York has magical mental abilities that allowed him to get a hold of it.
Maybe it's kind of like in Heavy Rain, you know, like during the fight you turn off a bit of it.
Yeah, can imagine that. Alright, let's profile this shit.
Alright, let's see.
It's safe to be doing this inside of the lumber mill
Much
instead
like-
of the safetiness of outside.
Don't worry, just like every other cutscene, you can skip these by pressing start, if you want.
Aye.
Yeah, it's starting to become pretty obvious that York was right. Yeah, she was murdered in here, not in the forest. And there you go.
Rebel noises.
And there you go. It also shows why there was hair there because of the struggle in the elevator. damn.
Ah.
That's all the information we need, Zach.
You don't have to look like a monkey doing that, York.
Well, squirrels sound like monkeys and humans look like monkeys. That's a very weird word.
No, it was the smiling. It actually reminded me of Lupin
Wow.
the Third.
Apparently, we were in there long enough for it to now be nighttime.
Well, actually, it was already
It's like-
nighttime,
yeah,
but when we got here,
It's
actually.
like in Zootopia, we exited the building. It's like, it's night?
It actually was already nighttime when we got here, Joe.
No. I recall it being lighter in the sky when we went in.
Well, okay, it was like,
Any of these things
nearly nighttime.
Evening, I guess.
Yeah.
Actually, wait, was it raining when we went
Yeah,
in?
it was. Very good.
That could have easily just stopped, Jova. Then I can
Yeah,
understand
the
it.
rain is like,
in a town where it rains so much?
Well, the people here rarely go out in the rain. I moved here during high school, and I never really understood why. Can you shed some light on this, George?
Oh, well, there's an old story, folklore. It's a fairy tale to me. Something about a killer in a raincoat who appears on rainy
Oh,
days.
really?
Well, that's just nothing, Georgie. Come on, you're just overthinking.
Well, Heavy Rain came out the same year, so
Oh god, her eyes.
oh,
Not many people
maybe the
still believe
people of this village knew what was coming.
place.
what Heavy Rain?
It's secretly Scott Shelby.
Okay, Heavy Rain was bad, but not bad enough to scare people with those eyes.
Since there's no reason to go out, not many people ever wear raincoats.
So there you go. There's a big superstition about the nighttime, and especially during rain.
Maybe the whole town's in on it.
Oh, by the way, would you two
Who knows?
kindly show me your bags?
Okay, so what you're saying, Joe? It's like
Oh,
a,
you're
it's like a.
Is this related?
It's
Oh,
like
remember,
the
Teo.
biggest-
What does the killer have in his back?
Upside down.
Alright, the
Joe,
chicken
what you're
food,
saying is it's like a
printer.
bigger scale murder on the Orient Express.
So yeah, if they don't have that on their backs, that means that means that they're not the killer. So this is a good way.
Also,
To...
York, you could ask to do that in the police station. You're just basically just asking
Don't
them
worry.
to strip right there in the public.
Well, to be fair, Teo, this is an off place where nobody comes in. So to be fair,
I
there's
know, but I was more like.
Oh, there you go. See, he even just said, "Don't ask about Zach. It's a private matter."
We can clear up most of my concerns about you. Isn't that for the best? You do want to remove yourselves from the suspect list.
Might
It
as
will make things a
well.
lot easier.
George has a problem with that, though. There you
Your
go.
methods are rude, insulting, and out of the question. And Emily is a female officer. Forcing her to show you her back is harassment. I don't care if you are FBI or not.
Is that a cowboy hat or a fedora you have?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, face.
George, it's okay. Let's just
There you
show
go.
it and get it over with.
Emily, are you crazy?
Look, we flash our backs and he'll start trusting us a little more.
And hopefully the blooming will
In New
stop.
York,
I know, right? Seriously, you think
It's like daytime with this lighting effect.
you think Emily were a ghost?
Believe it or not, believe it or
not.
not, Teo, the game looks even worse without the bloom.
Oh, I can just imagine that.
It's a little hard
It's hard to see.
Okay,
Yeah,
no, I'm actually curious, guys. Okay, Shiroi, how does this look on your end?
It's very bright.
Oh, it's the same for us. All right, George, now you.
Yeah, okay. I can't refuse it now, can I?
First, get rid of that ridiculous thing you've got on your face.
Morgan.
Please, it's a classy
A,
mustache.
a man is
Shut up.
entitled to whatever mustache he wants.
Yes, and I'm entitled to say that it looks ridiculous. It's like he's wearing a horseshoe on his face.
All right, let's see her back, Georgie.
George,
Oh.
Oh shit!
Oh,
That's not a chicken food, but
Just like you're Mr. Zach. Something private. I
oh
don't have to tell you
boy.
about it.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Just like Zach.
Let me
Just
guess.
like
Zach
Zach.
was the one who gave him those scars.
Yeah, we can. Don't worry, York. I can understand that. Yeah.
Things a lot easier for me.
Wouldn't that be an amazing plot twist, though?
Say you're both pretty much
Well, let's see. Let's just continue.
well, we made progress. We
Thank
have
the
reduced our
FBI.
suspect list.
The FBI thanks you for your cooperation.
Money
For
well
now-
spent in taxes, Drova. Remember that.
Well, here's what we need to do. Ask everyone to show us their
No,
backs.
I don't think so.
Well, I don't think that's gonna be very
He
productive. I
certainly
think
is the
we're better
most
off just, there's
irritating.
a lot of people in the town still, despite being a small town. We're better off just trying this a different way.
God forbid the killer is actually an outsider of the town, too.
Some things I want to address with the townfolk.
Very well. I'll arrange to have as many as possible gather in the community center
This
tomorrow.
music is a bit of a shift in tone.
Yeah,
Remember, Shiroi, we're now in a... See? See?
Oh,
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
hey, come on!
Remember, Shiroi, every time there's a casual conversation, the slice of life theme kicks in.
Also, Shire, we technically cleared these two
Wait,
people's
we
names,
did
so we
all that
wanted to
just
use
for
the town. So.
$250.
I guess the FBI was feeling stingy that day, Dwibs.
Considering how much money York gets but just by stuff like shaving, I think this is fine.
Does he still work for the FBI in the sequel?
The sequel is a prequel, Dwibs, so yes.
Oh, I thought it
Well,
was a sequel.
wait. I thought I heard it was both a prequel and a sequel.
It is, but I cannot go into further detail without spoiling this game.
Alright, see ya for the next part, I guess.
See you, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.